So in leading up to the AGM, I always start thinking about just who we really are as a group, as all of these groups put together, and from Swami Radha's idea. And I came to think of it as her work and giving us the tools to find out the question, what is your life all about? So people come and all of a sudden they lose the outside focus and begin to draw in and find out, what is my life all about? Why am I here? What is the purpose? And it's a very powerful change for people. That seed of light that has to somehow evolve into a purposeful, meaningful life. Each one of us comes for a reason, that we couldn't find it, or we were looking for something. And when people come, they say, this was more than I expected. They are more than they expected. And so, to me, it's really essential to find out why we're here as a group and what our next step is. So the seed of that light, that questioning, is our ability to evolve. Evolve and keep it changing and keep it alive. She used to go around to each of the centers and sort of light their lights and keep that light going. Keep people inspired, encouraged, because it's a long process. It just doesn't happen. It requires effort. So when we're living in community, we're trying to keep it alive. Keep the light alive, keep what we have here alive. And what it requires is that we get used to change. When Swami Radha first went to India, it was the first time they had rooms for women. So she sort of got there at the beginning. And but even so, it was not easy for her to be there in the ashram. It was challenging. And you can see that in the Radha book, all the challenges. But then she had to rethink, and we have to rethink what it is that we want to be doing, and what we have, and who we have. So we're getting used to that now, and over the years we've thought through how we can be more harmonious, how we can teach, how we can use our practices to go deeper ourselves, how we can live together. And it just seems so important that we keep on thinking and rethinking it. Because at the beginning, when Swami Radha started the Radha houses, she wanted a place in the urban settings for people to come. Because going to an ashram was sort of strange. I know in our family we didn't say the word ashram to other people because they wouldn't know where we were going. So it's like, now everybody does know about yoga and ashrams, and so it's changed. Before it was from the Radha houses to the ashram, they were the people who would draw the people in, and now it's the other way, we're drawing the people in, and they can go back to a place in the city because they've found something that they want to keep going. So I started to think, well, we're talking about sustainability. What does that mean in all different areas and levels of our life? From sustaining the people who live here, to the people that come, to our food, energy, to our buildings. What is it? What's it going to look like? And how's it going to be? I thought of when Swami Radha first came, the Karma Yogis were young men who went out to work on the survey of the roads around here. And the money came back to the ashram. So that was their Karma Yoga. And she often said that to many people, that that could be your Karma Yoga. Go out, work, earn money, send it back to the ashram. As long as you have that passion and talent, then you can put it wherever it is, if that is your sincere, heartfelt desire to sustain what you feel is really, really important and essential in your life. To have that connection to the teachings and the light. And many people did that for her. They lived and rented in her houses, and that was a way that sustained her, in a way that she didn't need to keep on always working for it. So in some way it was that love of and devotion that allowed her to have the last years of her life the way she did. So now we come to us, and the ashram has now fewer residents. When I first came, there was often 24 or 30 residents. Now we don't have that many, but we have a lot of people coming and going, a lot of people coming in, sometimes like the retreat guests for a taste, sometimes for the in-depth workshops for life changes, and sometimes to live so that we can learn to live as a live community. How do we do this, and what's important to us, and how do we keep changing? And there's so many levels of changes that we've made. So we have this foundation, like this rich soil that every year has been cared for and composted and ready for new growth. And then we have the buildings, the infrastructure, we have our own development, we have many things that we have to sustain. And how are we going to do it? And so in thinking about that, like having the members of our board really involved in some way, what would it mean to know that they're supported and we're supported? And so to think of different ways that that can happen. And I was thinking of the community of people that we do have within the ashram, but now we're reaching out into our community. But we also have, the ashram is only one part of our property. And I know that some of the ashrams have people living near the ashram or on their property, but in their own buildings. So that there's sort of like a community that surrounds the ashram as well. And then we have teachers who could come and help us at specific times to teach. But we're also, now, we're hiring more people. So what would it look like? Keep coming up with ideas of how we can come together in a balanced way, that each person, each group is supported. And so that's partly what you'll see in what's coming up, and to really look at that and see if you have ideas that would work in terms of how to sustain something that's very important.